Well, the Big Ten Championship is upon us. The Buckeyes come to Indy with the nation's most efficient passer in Julian Sayin. They got the best pair of receivers in the country, a ferocious defense. Meanwhile, Indiana, last year's surprise team, proved this season is not just a one-season fluke. Cal transfer quarterback Fernando Mendoza has been one of the nation's best QBs. The Hoosiers' defense ranking in the top 3 in scoring defense, rushing defense, and total defense. Jenny Dell out here with Cardale Jones. We got Danny Kanell holding it down at FanFest in Indianapolis. The doors just opened here. We got fans pouring in. We were out in Indy last night enjoying the sights and the scenes, and it seems like there's a lot of Hoosiers fans coming into town. Just a quick drive up the road. Let's talk about the fans before we get into the game. Is this more important, would you say, for Indiana fans? Ohio State fans, they've been here before, right? What's your take?
You know, the Buckeyes been here a few times, but I think when you look at the head-to-head matchup, we learned this stat last night at dinner, where 30 times Ohio State Indiana has played, Indiana is 0-30 in that matchup. Why not get the biggest win and that first win on the biggest stage of college football right now for the Hoosiers at the Big Ten Championship game, where they're ranked number 2 and taking down number 1 Ohio State. I think this does mean a lot more for their fans, just the history of the Indiana program and how fast Kurt Cinetti has turned things around.
I know you wouldn't say Ohio State fans, like this doesn't mean that much, but it does mean more to Indiana. And I think Ohio State fans, look, it's expensive to be a college football fan, you know, in 2025. I think Ohio State fans are kind of like, maybe I'm just going to save up and go to a playoff game, or go to 2 playoff games, or go to the national championship game, because that's the luxury of being an Ohio State Buckeye fan. And for Indiana fans, they haven't been in this position forever, so they want to come support their team. It is easier to get here. So I do expect it to be a pretty strong Indiana contingent and feel like a home game for the Hoosiers.
I was looking at the prices of the tickets compared to when we had the Big Ten Championship last year. I think it's $1,200 to even get in the doors this year. I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's going to be one of the best games, and we're lucky to be able to have that front row seat for it all. Now, I got to talk to you about the Buckeyes. You're coming off that great win against Michigan, finally able to get the win against Michigan for Ryan Day out there. As a former player, how do you carry that emotional victory forward to this week and make sure you don't kind of overlook what this matchup is?
Yeah, you know what? I think playing in the Big Ten Championship game, there's no way you can overlook this matchup going against such a quality opponent. This is not like Big Ten Championships games in the past for Ohio State. They played Wisconsin, Northwestern a few years back, where it was a 28-3 type of game. And so this is a quality team. And I think that emotional release for Ohio State was really so much of getting the monkey off their back. Yeah. If you look at what happened last year, this time of the year for Ohio State in that Michigan game, that win felt like it was the completion of the season, because that was a completely different Ohio State team after they lost to Michigan last year and went on that run to win a national championship, and right now on the nation's best 16-game win streak. That was capping off last year's season. I think tomorrow night, will start a new season to help them get into the college football playoffs and make another run for the college football national championship.
I think you could even look at it the way the game against Tennessee went last year, the home playoff game, when there was all that pressure, that tension, and then they played freely. I think there was a lot of pressure and tension going into that Michigan game. Now they won that game. Now it's like, okay, now we can just go take care of our next goal, which is to win a national championship. So I think the other thing too is there would be a tendency maybe in years past to look at Indiana and think, oh, all we have to do is show up. They know better than that now. You have number 1 versus number 2. You've got an undefeated opponent. They're right there. They are very well aware of how capable Indiana is as an opponent. So I think you'll get Ohio State's best effort for sure.
You talk to any Ohio State players coming into this year, and there's 3 goals, right? You beat Michigan, you win the Big Ten Championship, you win the Natty. That's what they're looking at right now. Coach Day has come out and said it's all about the hardware from this point forward, and that's what it's all about. When you look at this quarterback matchup, though, I mean, two of the best in the nation, 2 of the top Heisman contenders. We have Julian Sayin, Fernando Mendoza. Who has the edge between those 2, or do you think there's another contender that I know you're a big fan of?
When you talk about the edge between those 2, when we're talking about the edge and just really the Heisman voting and that Heisman moment, I had to give it to Fernando Mendoza with his win over Penn State and coming back in the 4th quarter, leading out on that drive, and just the consistent play we've been seeing from him all year, and consistent play for Julian Sayin as well. But my Heisman vote, if I was a voter, is going to a guy like Diego Pavia out of Vandy, because when I think of a Heisman Trophy caliber athlete or player, I'm thinking about the guys who, what does this team look like without this guy? if you put Diego Pavia into the Ohio State or the Indiana system, are both teams still here today? I believe so. You take him away from Vandy. Vandy is not relevant into the conversations that we're having when we talk about college football playoffs. If you put Mendoza or Sayin down in Vandy, the style of play that they play, I'm not sure they have an argument for the college football playoffs right now. So I'm looking at a guy, what he means to his program, how he has transformed things, and to me, that vote will go to Diego Pavia.
There's definitely a movement for Diego Pavia. You know, and what he did against Tennessee his last game, going 10-2, that was phenomenal. But I also feel like, for a month, I felt like the winner was going to come from the Big Ten championship game. But there's almost an anti-Julian Sayin movement taking place that felt similar to what happened to Mac Jones when Devontae Smith, his wide receiver, won the Heisman Trophy from him. The conversation starts becoming, well, how good is the talent around him? And look how many weapons Julian Sayin has around him. And you've got 2 first-rounders, an eventual probably top 5 pick in Jeremiah Smith. And, you know, this year you'll probably see Cardale taking the top 15. You know, you've got all these weapons around. You got a great defense. Like, how hard is it? I don't love that conversation because Julian Sayin is doing things that aren't very normal, even for a quarterback playing with that much talent around him. He's almost 80% completion percentage. That's hard to do in a 7-on-7 drill for a lot of quarterbacks. So I still think there's a chance he could win it, but I think Fernando Mendoza has the biggest opportunity to really just slam dunk, be the runaway winner of the Heisman, because he's had the stats. He's positioned himself as a favorite. If he knocks off this Ohio State team in the Big Ten championship as an underdog, he'll be a slam dunk winner, and I don't even think it'll be close.
I think there's a lot of voters out there that are waiting to see exactly how this matchup plays out. That's for sure. All right, I got to ask, and we're going to be talking about this for the rest of the night tonight and all day tomorrow. Your pick to win the Big Ten championship, Cardale. Let me guess where you're going with this one.
This is a shocker. I'm going to shock you guys. No, I got Ohio State in a close game. You know, I got Ohio State. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, that 20-27 to 24 to 20 type of game. It's a situation, and I got to give, when you look at the competition, you look at the skill players, you look at the edge, Ohio State don't have that big of a edge over Indiana at any position, because you think about the receiver names that you just named, Jeremiah Smith, Cardale Tate. Well, Sirac and Cooper Jr. is really good receivers as well. So I'm giving Ohio State because of the slight edge they have at the skill positions. And Ryan Day and this staff, they've been here before. They've been anxious to get back to it. I got a Buckeyes winning a close one.
I'm going to go with an upset.
Yeah.
And here's why. I feel like Ohio State's been so good, and it's almost to their detriment. And, like, I want to see a team, how they respond in the fourth quarter. And if it is a fourth quarter game, we've seen Indiana several times this year. They had the game in Iowa, which not a lot of people saw, that they had to come through in the fourth quarter. They had the Penn State, the drive that they came back from. I just feel, and Fernando Mendoza has experience not only this year, but going back to Cal, being in high-pressure, high-leverage situations where he had to put the team on his back and lead them down the field. I feel like that benefit could be huge in this game for the Indiana Hoosiers. I don't ever want to go against Kirk Cignetti either when people don't give him a chance. I mean, I felt like when they went to Eugene and beat Oregon, they were a 7.5-point underdog. I didn't think they could do it there. And then all of a sudden, the thing that jumped out at me was the physicality with which they played with. I think they're going to bring a physical brand of football that goes toe-to-toe with this Ohio State team. I'm going to say they pull off the upset.
There's definitely a calm with that team in times of struggle, and that's something that they might need in this matchup. It's very impressive to think what they did in Oregon. We were there for that game, and it was just incredible to watch Fernando Mendoza under center like nothing was going wrong. I mean, it's an impressive feat over there. All right, so we are talking about the Heisman situation coming up on the other side of this break. We're going to break down who has the edge in different categories when it comes to these two quarterbacks between Julian Sayin, Fernando Mendoza. That's coming up next, live from Indianapolis.